That's when therapy comes in. When you know you just don't have that control anymore and you really need help. Certain part of the brain region that's associated with pain is the same brain regions associated with heartbreak.
Welcome to the Superpower Podcast. Are you ready to discover what it means to be a man whisperer and why you attract love or losers? I'm your host, Tia Direct, and in this episode you'll discover many things, including the difference between good fare and unhealthy fare when it comes to relationships, the way to leverage past experiences and red flags, why being a hard person doesn't always protect you, how to give yourself credit for past experiences and mistakes, why you need highs and lows within your relationships, and how being smart and successful doesn't make you necessarily emotionally intelligent. Today, we continue the discussion with the relationship scientist and neuroscientist, Dr. Ryeal Simms, to explore man-whispering tips and how to attract what you really want in love and life from a spiritual and scientific perspective, which is what we discussed in part 1. We enter the second part of the discussion using the biblical analogy of he who finds a wife finds a good thing. But the big part that women often forget is that you are the employer. You're the one that's hiring for the job. To understand what we're talking about, take a listen.
When I go look for a job and I'm looking on the computer for a job or I look in the newspaper and I found the job that I want, does that mean I'm going to get it?
No.
Does that mean I'm going to get it? No. It means I got to be interviewed first, right? And that's why I tell women, you are the employer. Us men, we're interested in trying to get the job. You see? So the power lays in you to be the chooser. So keep that power. So when that man comes to you, you need to do your homework. And then it goes back to understanding what your needs, what your non-negotiable requirements are, your needs and your wants. That's why it's important for you to take out time to know who? Self. Get to know you, get to know what you're looking for, what you're really wanting, because you're the employer. So if you're out saying I'm hiring, what are you hiring?
Because guess what? If nobody knows that you're hiring,
yes. If
nobody knows that there's a position available.
Yes, keep going. Yes.
If your energy, your eye contact, where you go or where you don't go, what you do,
right.
If nothing about you says that I'm hiring, how will anybody even know to come? And then,
talk to me.
What are you doing to put out into the atmosphere that you're available? A lot of women don't want to be put in a position to feel rejected, though. And so it's the fear of what you don't want that paralyzes us.
Yes.
And so because we don't want to feel rejected, we will not put ourselves out there. Now, this could be relationships or any area of our life. I've got those areas of my life where I'm shy about certain things. And people think because I'm Dia Direct and I'm bold and and I'm a life coach and I've got these books out that always powerful and strong, but there are areas where I'm not as strong.
Yes.
And what I've learned about any level of growth is you've got to get out of your comfort zone, because if you focus more on what you don't want more than you focus on what you do want, then you ultimately attract what you don't want, which is the law of attraction. So the dilemma of the day was, why do people keep attracting the same type of relationships if that's not what they want? Lisa says, because they haven't done the work on themselves. You have to face your own demons and learn to love and value yourself. And I'll read one more and then I'll read some more later. Gwen says, they don't realize that they are the problem. You must change your approach to seeking a new partner. If you keep attracting the same type, then your methods in dating and flirting should undergo some revisions. We all go through this at some point or time or another, and some learn that the way you present yourself will attract certain types, while some don't learn this. But she's asking the same question or making the same statement that I asked you. Perhaps the way one dresses, wears makeup, uses language to attract or turn off the opposite sex is hindering their ability to meet down-to-earth, genuine, caring partners. Relationship scientist, you say what?
I've had people say, why do I keep attracting the same person over and over again? Well, what actually happens is if we don't give ourselves an opportunity to detox from that particular person, what the body is actually doing, man. Now, this is so good. This was a good setup to everything that we talked about. So when we talk about all of those chemicals, remember we was talking about being addicted to all of those chemicals. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to, first of all, remember you're addicted to that person, right? So let's say when that person is gone, and I want to give an example first.
So we're talking about when you were in a bad relationship.
Yeah. Well, just attracting. Mm-hmm. Still when we're attracting, because what it is that we don't realize is that we're coming out of a relationship, another relationship, mm-hmm. and we keep attracting that same kind of person, right? And what it is that because we haven't gotten over that person that we broke up with, that person is still in our immune system. It's something that I call the major histocompatibility complex, and this is something about, okay, and what it is how we meet. It's our DNA. It's our immune system. It's how we become attracted and addicted to the other person. It's how we become addicted. So when we break up from that person, that doesn't mean we're still yearning for that particular person. But let's just say that person is a drug. We're still yearning
it's
for
still in
that
your system.
Drug. Huh?
It's still in your system.
It's in your system. And what happens is that we're not really, in a sense, attracting the person until later, but we're actually going out seeking for that person. We're actually seeking. Okay, this is the example. You're addicted to a certain drug, right? Your drug dealer goes to jail. Now, do you stop taking that drug? You go out and you try to find another drug dealer.
Okay. Oh,
right?
Lord.
So that drug dealer has what you need, is that drug to keep feeding you, right? And so when you said earlier, you were so right, it's still in the system, right? So the body is still yearning for someone like your drug dealer. So what you're doing is when you go out and when you're going around, your body is still looking for someone who has the same personality, the same mannerism, the same DNA, and you're actually going out, you're actually looking for it because you're like, hey, my drug dealer is in jail, but I'm out looking for the same guy who has the same thing to give me, and that's exactly what you're doing.
God help
Your body
us.
is still yearning. That's why you got to detox from that person. That's why you got to get rid of that person. You got to get that person out your system, because that's what you said earlier, in your system.
But how do you know because, okay, let's be honest.
When you see that person and it has no effect on you anymore, when you see a picture and it has no effect on your body anymore, when somebody mentions his name and it does nothing to you anymore, because it's no different. Again, remember, it's no different than putting that donut in front of you, knowing that you have been on this diet for 3 months and you want to bite that donut, knowing you want to grab that pizza, knowing that you want to take that drug when you see it. But when you know that you no longer desire for it anymore, you're on that right track and you can keep strong and stay strong. And you know when that brother calls you and go, hey, baby, how you doing? I just want to see you. You can like, you know what? Don't call me no more, because it's over with you now. You know it's over with you. You know it's gone. You know it's gone. He can't call you with those sweet little words, because that's what happens. Let me tell you, all it takes, scientifically, all it takes is to hear his voice. All it takes is to hear his voice. How you doing, baby? Hey, I just want to say I'm sorry. You're like, oh.
It just does something to you.
Oh, it does something to you. And what does it do? That voice goes into the brain, into our memory, where it calls the hippocampus. And that's what stores all the memory of John. So it goes in and it says, oh, that's John. And so what happens is when we hear John's voice goes in, and then the hippocampus triggers, again, that pleasure center part of the brain that I talked about earlier, and it triggers that brain and it releases the dopamine, and your body goes, woo, oh, and John goes, can I come by? And he's like, no, John. He's like, come on, baby, can I come by?
It sounds like your name has been John before. You've been a John before? But you know what that made me think about? You know what it made me think about is smells and food. That memory that you talked about, how, we can smell bacon, even if you don't eat it anymore, or it's something that reminds you of your grandmother, or somebody can pass by me and it's a cologne or a perfume, and it reminds me of a certain point in my life.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly how the brain works, because it stores that information in the hippocampus, and it's there. And important stuff, you have to remember, when we store information, the important stuff is there. The non-important stuff is erased, but somewhat it's put in a storage, a different kind of storage, right? And exactly, when we run into somebody, we have to know if we have willpower, if we still have that control, right? And you're so right. You're exactly so right. All other things in life, period, remind you when you smell, and touch. Touch. There's a thing that we call, when you touch, the primary somatosensory cortex.
What?
Now, that is the primary somatosensory cortex, and that is when you touch a person, that touch goes to the brain and it says, hey, that's John. That's John touching me. And again,
you and John.
When you get that little tingle and you go, whoa, right? That body, and you start saying, oh, and John, all John has to do is just rub you just a couple of times and like, hey, can I come up? And you're like, just for a little while, John, just for a little while. And it's over.
Yeah.
So you got to stay away from them. Don't let them touch you, because that's all it takes. That's all it takes, because the body knows. The body still knows. The body is like, look, I want to feel good. I don't know about you, but John made me feel good.
So you
I don't
said
know about y'all.
You gave a fun fact before. Well, it's more than a fun fact. It's an actual fact, scientific fact. And you talked about how the brain is wired to go towards things that it likes and to reject things that give pain. Can you because that's kind of what you're talking about there. However, from an emotional perspective, some of the things that give us pleasure can ultimately cause pain, whether it's too much food or going back to John.
Yes, absolutely. And the brain tries to help us. It tries to help us. It tries to say, let's stay away from this because it's causing us pain, right? And what we do is we most of the time override that. We go, no, I want it. And it's like, no, you got to get over this and you got to forget this. You got to, come on, man. And that's why sometimes, and then that's when therapy comes in, right? When it's times when you just don't have that control anymore and you really need help, and it gets to that point. But you're so right. And again, like I said, it's a certain part of the brain region that's associated with pain. It's the same brain regions associated with heartbreak.
Real talking tools to reboot, realign, and reignite fire in your life. It's Superpower with Dia Direct.
Some of us look soft on the outside, but we're hard as stone inside. Others appear hard on the outside, but are really marshmallows inside. If this is you, it probably means you're often misunderstood. It may even be hurting your love life, brand, or professional growth. This year, let's be more strategic and intentional. Soft is the new power book, has the answers you need, guiding you on how to tap into your soft side and using it as a strategic edge. Be more intentional by using emotional intelligence to communicate. Learn and leverage the art of becoming a man whisperer. Go to Amazon.com and order your copy of Soft is the New Power today.
Real talking tools to reboot, realign, and reignite fire in your life. It's Superpower with Dia Direct.
Because so many people have experienced heartbreak, they don't want to put themselves in that position again. And
Absolutely.
so,
Good point.
So what is your advice to someone who's trying to avoid being put back in a hurtful situation?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that's the same answer for anything in life. When you fall, what? You got to get back up. You got to get back up because, yes, there's a lot of us that are fear certain traumatic events in our lives. You have a car accident and you're afraid to get in the car and drive because it was such a traumatic accident, and that happens again. The effect that we know our memory stores will have a major effect on us and on our frontal cortex that's telling us, actually our limbic system, where our amygdala, that's always sometimes the amygdala, the fight or flight situation where you have the fear and it tells your body whether you want to fight or whether you want to flee. So we have to get to the point where you got to get back up. You got to get back up. We all go through. This isn't just a relationship thing. This is life, period. You got turned down for a couple of jobs that you went to. They said no 100 times. You got to get a no 100 and 1,000 times because you got to keep trying to look for a job. You need to pay your bill, right? You don't want to be homeless, so you got to keep going. You know, and I want to share one treatment that was taught to me by my professor, and it really works, and it's so simple.
Go ahead.
Whenever you keep thinking about this guy, whenever you keep thinking about this girl, whenever you keep thinking about this situation that's causing you not to try it again, not to go back out again, every time you think negative, you have to do one little tiny thing. Tell your brain this: stop it. Every time you tell your brain stop it, you're conditioning your brain. These things that are called neurons that's in our brain. These neurons that's in our brain is holding information. And the reason why I hold my arm up is because a neuron looks like our hand with these little branches and then little branches at the end. And so one neuron gives information to the other neuron. This neuron goes and gives information to another neuron. And it tells these neurons, hey, you know, we're afraid to go back out and look for another man, right? And it's like, yeah, I know. So we'll spread the word. So we spread the word, and it goes all through all the neurons, and they go, yeah, hey, you know, we're afraid to go out, right? And we're like, yeah, I heard that. Okay, well, then that's how we're going to be. You know, this is the whole concept of when you hear people say positive thinking, negative thinking. This is what now I'm explaining what that looks like scientifically in the brain. This is positive and negative thinking. So what you have to do is to say, stop it. So every time you think negative, you have to say, stop it. So guess what? Every time you say stop it, one neuron goes, oh, hey, do you know we're supposed to stop that thinking? It's like, no, I didn't know that. Yeah, we're supposed to stop it. So he goes and tells another neuron, tells another neuron. So the more you keep saying stop it, you keep telling them, this is the new thing, stop it. You tell them, they go out and they tell another, they keep telling you. You keep saying stop it. This is the process of how we end up changing. And you create a new neural pathway when you do this. And this is how you become different than what you were. So you just basically keep telling yourself, stop it. And remember.
But is that enough?
Creating a new pathway, which means now this person is in your way. Creating a new pathway, a neural pathway, is knowing that you need to go this way now and look this way. You know, and that'll create a whole new, because what happens is that you don't concentrate on this. You're concentrating on making new. So concentrate on making new, and this will start dying down because you're not feeding it anymore. You're not feeding it.
So which energy do you think is more powerful? Because I've heard that negativity can often be more powerful than positive messages. What do you think from your perspective?
Negative in a sense where, like we say, like when we talk about neuroscience, okay, good, thank you, you're helping me. Sometimes it's good fear, because the good fear is warning you.
It's protecting you.
Good fear is protecting you.
But that's what a woman's going to tell you about her heart. I'm protecting myself.
Right. And you have to know that you're protecting yourself. When you're protecting yourself, you just use that as a protection to teach you how to respond if this is a person that's giving you the warning signs. You see what I'm saying? So you have to look for those warning signs. If you don't see those warning signs, don't make none up.
Okay, so I'm going to give it to you another way, and then you help me. You explain it to me from your scientific perspective. Often what I share with clients is, if you've gone through something that caused you pain, particularly a relationship, and it was traumatic, right? You learned some things in that relationship. And one of the things that you learned is that you don't want to be in that kind of relationship again, right?
Absolutely.
So, but the difference is, you may have had warning signs before, but you didn't necessarily understand them. You didn't have the same alarm because you didn't have the same experience. So maybe you didn't have that memory that you talked about to really say exactly what that is. But the difference is, you now have new information. You have new information about yourself and about others, because sometimes we overestimate our abilities to handle certain things or to change people or to think that we can deal with things that we can't. So the point is, if you've gone through this, you've had the experience, you learned something, at some point you have to know that you don't have to be mean or hard just to avoid the fear of potential pain, because it's not really about your exterior position that's going to keep people from hurting you as much as it is the information that you now have. So since you have this information, at any given moment, as you would say, you can change the channel because you're going to see it coming, right? You're going to see it faster. You're going to see it with a different perspective. You're going to know more about what those signs are, what those red flags are. So you don't have to run away from life because you're stronger than you were before. You know more. You have more information. What? You're laughing. What?
You know why I'm laughing?
Tell me.
Because you said I want you to explain. You just explained it. That is totally 100%, 150%. You just broke it down.
I don't have the science behind it, though.
Look, that is the science of it. That is the science of it. That is it. You just broke it down. I mean, hey, not everything has to have big words or scientific words to it. What you just broke down was the science of it. That is it. That's it. I mean, women, if you just heard this is what you need to listen to. This is what you need to heed to, what you just heard, because she just broke it down. That is it. That is it. You know, that's what you just broke down explains life, period. Mm-hmm. People are going through life, period, not just relationships, but life, period. What you just broke down, I don't want to touch what you just broke down. I don't want to touch that. That is it. What you just said, that is it. And people need to learn from that. People need to learn from that and understand how to live from what you just broke down. You need to edit that and you need to post that, because that's how people are going to learn from something what you just said. And that was it. That was so profound. I mean, that was just awesome. That was just totally awesome. You know, we can go to another topic because you just, you know, I don't have a microphone. I don't have a microphone with me, but you know, you
dropped the mic.
You just dropped the mic. You just dropped the mic. That's why I was laughing. I was like, preach on, sister, because
you look like you were in church a little bit.
Yes, I was. You know, I needed to find some church music to put on because you was dropping it. That's it. Yeah. Totally,
well, unfortunately, the only reason why I can be so passionate about it is because I've fallen a lot, and I remember when I was going through a divorce. Thank God I'm happily married now, but it took the fall and it took the learning of myself to position myself in a way where I could see differently. And one of the things that my psychologist said to me at the time was, you've lost your ability to trust your gut. And that's a very dangerous place to be.
That's right.
Because you think that you did all the right things. You know, you gave your heart to somebody who didn't deserve it, who took advantage of you, and you may think that you're insightful, you know, in most areas of your life. And, you know, one of the things I had to learn is, you know, it's like a muscle. Just because you're strong over here, and just because you're a powerhouse at work or in the gym, likened to the gym, whatever muscle you use the most is the one that's going to be strongest. And then there's also, because if people appeal to what you like, right, kind of what you talked about earlier, if people know how to make you high, your ability to think straight is not the same. You don't make the same decisions when you're high all the time.
That's right.
And so what happened for me is I lost my ability to discern and my ability to use my intuition because I was attracting people in my life who were appealing to getting me high in terms of my preferences versus my priorities. So what does that look like? That looks like whining and dining. That looks like the physicality of it all. That looks like appealing to, treating me a certain way, taking me certain places, exposing me to things that I maybe hadn't been exposed to at that point in my life. And it became very exciting. And I got high. And it was like, and they,
Yes.
and once they saw that I was getting high, guess what? They kept upping the high until
Yes.
it all came crashing down.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
So as a result, I was no longer in touch with my core because I wasn't making decisions based upon what I really knew because I was high.
Mm-hmm.
I was high.
Right.
So to speak, right?
Right.
Don't take that out of context. So,
Yes.
So when I came down, crashing off that high, life was still happening, and I was so disappointed in myself, And that's that other part of, there's that judgment that comes in, and maybe you're not as strong as you thought you were, or as smart in that area as you thought you were, because back to the gym, you work your muscle at work, or your brain intellectually, or in school, but you're emotional, and that's why you are a life coach from the perspective of relationships and neuroscience. I'm a life coach from the perspective of social and emotional intelligence. And so as a result of understanding how I behave, understanding myself and people in real time, then you can make better decisions, right? That's what social and emotional intelligence teaches you. Right. But I wasn't in touch with that, right? Because I was high. And so I had to get back to the place where I could deal with my truth and not try to make it pretty.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things that I try to do and create a safe space for other women to do, because they're not in the gym of dealing with their emotions. And so they're not as emotionally strong as they think they are, because their social and emotional intelligence muscle is weak, even though they're the bomb in every other area of their life. And there you go.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So in closing us out, because this has been such a rich conversation, which means we have to do this again, okay?
Yes.
Yes. I just really wanted to thank you, because a lot of times we do things and we don't know that it's connected. And if nothing else, just knowing from a scientific perspective that there's a reason why some of these things occur, it takes the judgment away a little bit, because people want to know that it's not just them. That's another way of saying me too. Everybody goes through certain things, but some of this is natural, right?
That's right. Absolutely. And you said such a great thing when you said it helps you to become less judgmental. Mm-hmm. It's so important, and you're so right.
What is it that you do in your business, and how can people get in touch with you to, if they're not in California, they can call you or whatever? What are the services that you offer, and what can folks look forward to?
I speak. So if you have organizations or college, universities, I speak to youth. For years, I toured with Tavis Smiley and Professor Cornel West and Michael Eric Dyson. We all went out to different places in the United States to educate the youth. So I speak to everyone, to young girls in prison, foster girls, and I also help couples. So if there's couples out there that need help, just going through something in your relationship, you could go to the Relationship Scientist website. It's Ryeal, the Relationship Scientist, Ryeal, or just type up my name, because there's different
Ryeal.
Ryeal Simms, Simms, 2 M's. Mm-hmm. They say the 2 M's is for the rich people, but they just forgot about me. So, and there's telephone numbers on there that you can call me anytime. And if I use any media that we can use, Skype. If you want counseling that way. There's other medias too that whatever makes it comfortable for the couple, right? I also counsel singles as well, and that's. I also work in the industry, the film industry too. So I work as an advisor, producer. So when people are writing scripts and they want to add the science into it, mm-hmm. Or if they're writing a relationship book or songs or anything like that, and they really want, real facts about the relationships, the science of it, I give them that.
You're like a walking encyclopedia.
Thank you so much. I'm just so passionate, about it. And like I said, I just wanted to learn more And I think you said it a couple of times too. It's so important to know why. And I just wanted to know more about why we do what we do and to explain it. So when people write books and everything, I love it. I love it. I love being on panels with people such as yourself, and you're so educated. I mean, you are just so, man, you deep, and you're just, and I follow you too. So
Thank you.
I like hearing you speak. You just have so much, and I'm like, wow, this sister's really deep. She's got it. And I like that. And that's how, I make that combination with people, is that I just add the science to it. It's not something that you don't already know or people don't already know.
But we don't know the why. We don't know the why behind it all the time.
Don't know the why.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like to add the science to it. So I hope that, someday too, we could, do a seminar there where you are. And
sure.
We both can to do something together. So
here's what I want to just, share. God's been dealing with me on this word, and I think it's been coming up more and more with what's happening in the atmosphere with the Me Too campaign and people being violated. And even though it's like many years later, myself included, what you're seeing is these emotions are fresh. And so to your point, you've got to tell yourself a different story, and you've got to keep telling yourself a different story. But what I just wanted to share in closing is that people feel uncovered. A lot of us have been uncovered. And even the strong, the smart, the powerful, we need to feel loved and protected from the inside out, right? And so what happens as a result of what's happened to us, whether it's childhood or past relationships, people often choose relationships from a wounded place. And so whatever you didn't get in your childhood, you're always searching for that. I found that to be true for myself. I resented the implication, but it's true because I saw it as being weak. But the truth is, because I wasn't covered by my father properly, or because I was exposed to things as a child that I shouldn't have been exposed to, I always felt emotionally naked and uncovered. And so I found that even though people always thought I was so strong, I end up choosing relationships that gave me a sense of covering, even if it wasn't real, temporarily.
Right.
And so we must identify and deal with our stuff so that we can attract genuine love. Genuine love.
Absolutely.
Go to God within yourself to heal, to forgive, to release, so that you can flow, so that you can give and receive from within and multiply it back to yourself. And sometimes, because you're so close to it, you might need some help. And that's where Ryeal and myself come in. We're here for you to help you work through your belief systems about love, about starting, dealing with how you feel and self-worthiness, and to really help you to attract what you really want and to focus on what you really want and not to put all your energy in what you don't want so that fear doesn't win. I have a book that was an Amazon bestseller, a really small book called Failure is Fuel. But the premise behind that Failure is Fuel is that I realized that I was repeating behavior that was based in fear. And because I wasn't dealing with my fear, I kept attracting things and people into my life that replicated the very thing that I said I wanted to get away from. And what you've done is you've helped us to understand why we do that. And a lot of women are able to change behavior once they understand the why. You're not dumb, you're not stupid, you're not weak. You're built a certain way and you're impacted by what's happened to you in life. But you also have the power to change your brain. Is that right, Doc?
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Our brain is plastic, and you have that opportunity to change, to get more information and to change. We never believe that it's set and it's over, and it's not. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is just like a computer. It is a computer. I mean, that's what we base the computer off of, is our own brain. When you have bad files, you need to store that bad file, that corrupt file, that damaged file, and look for a new file. You need to put a new hard drive, in the system, and you can definitely condition your brain. And I mean, whenever you see people change, whenever you see people go on diets or lose weight, it's all in the brain. It's all that they decided to do to create a new pathway. And that's the whole key, is to condition, and like you said, being aware of the things that happened to you in your past, and to want to do something about it, and doing something about it, and that's what's so important, is to do something about it, because you are aware sometimes, and when you are aware, it's time now to do something about that awareness,
Well, I'll let you have the last word.
Same,
yep.
And I think that last word of mine is preparing yourself is to prevent repairing yourself.
Say it again.
Preparing yourself,
yes,
is to prevent repairing yourself.
I love it. You have the last word, sir. I hope we said something today that helped you feel empowered, that helped you feel a little bit more connected to yourself, to what you want out of life, to others, and take it to the next level. Share this. And thank you so much, Ryeal Simms, the relationship scientist. We really appreciate you today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being on your show. I'm so honored because, like I said, I've been following you for a long time. So I'm honored to actually be on your show. I'm like, wow. So, thank you so much.
We'll do it again, sir. It's been a pleasure.
I'm your host, Dia Direct, and this has been another Superpower Her podcast. Listen, share this with your friends and your family. Please like us and comment on Facebook and Instagram. Find us everywhere at DEYAdirect.net or on Instagram at DEYAdirect or Superpower Her on Instagram. We look forward to hearing more from you. Listen to our other episodes and make sure you continue to tap into your superpower her.